Hello, Good Tree. This is Paul, and I have some answers for some of the questions you might have regarding the creation according to the Bible. Today, we're going to cover chapter 17, and the question of the day is, are there really different races? In this chapter, we're going to cover what race means and what should we think of interracial marriage. So, what constitutes a race? Race was usually a term to refer to certain people groups like the English race or the Irish race, but after the popularization of evolution and the origin of man by Charles Darwin, people started to use the term race to refer to evolutionary stage a group of people were in. So this worldview fueled racist attitudes because people started looking down on certain groups of people because they believe they are less developed as humans and are closer to apes. The Bible, on the other hand, teaches all human beings are of one blood because everyone is a descendant of Adam. Everyone is also described to be created in the image of God, but some people argue that Christianity is a very racist religion because it promoted slavery. The Bible talks about slavery several times in the Old and New Testament, but the Bible never encouraged slavery. Instead, it was condemned and regulated to prevent abuse. In fact, many Christians during the past century were against slavery and fought to abolish slavery. Are there really racial differences? So people believe that there must be different races because certain groups of people look different from other groups of people. The truth is, these differences are absolutely trivial. If we compare two very different looking people, we will find out that the genetic difference between those two people is around 0.1% on average. So most of the differences between different groups of people are cultural, not racial. Regarding skin color, different skin color is not really an indication that there are different races because scientists have found out that people do not really have different colors, but just different shades. So people have different shades because of the pigment in our skin called melanin. People with more melanin have a darker shade in their skin, and vice versa. So the amount of melanin a person will have is decided by the genetic information they inherit from their parents. If the parents pass on gene codes that have a lot of melanin, then the child will most likely have a lot of melanin and therefore have a darker skin color. The point is that people do not really have different skin colors, but that we all have the same color, but just with different shades. After the flood, the whole human race was reduced to 8 people, and they all spoke the same language and had the same culture. So there probably wasn't a big difference in their physical characteristics. However, when God judged the people at the Tower of Babel and gave them different languages, the people naturally separated from one another and went to different places to live. The result was people no longer freely mixed with other groups of people but procreated with their own group. So after several generations, certain features became more predominant within each group, and that explains why we have people looking very different now. Regarding the Tower of Babel incident, God scattered the people at Babel because of their rebellion. But some Christians are arguing that the dispersion at Babel is God declaring that people from different groups can't marry. Now, this passage is not about marriage. In fact, through Christ, all separation between people is broken down, so that everyone is now one in Christ. Instead, the Bible teaches us that an important purpose of marriage is to produce godly offspring, and that when a man and a woman marry, they become one flesh. So the Bible also teaches us that we should not be yoked together with unbelievers. This means that the Bible is counseling Christians not to marry non-Christians. This is an important matter, but unfortunately many Christian parents are not concerned about their children marrying a non-Christian, but are more concerned about the nationality or race of the person. If Christians marry with non-Christians, then the chances of the parents not performing their godly roles will be very likely. Fathers, for example, have the responsibility to teach and train their children about the ways of God and His righteousness according to the Bible. However, if the father is not a Christian and he's not a believer, then the father won't be able to perform his responsibility. Same goes for the mother. To sum everything up, God is not against people marrying people from different people groups. Instead, God is more concerned that Christians should marry Christians. This is because there is no such thing as a race in Christianity. All people are descendants of Adam and Eve, and therefore we are all from one blood.